I would say the first order of business is to grab the definition of left, grab what that means, and wrest it from the neoliberals. Neoliberals should have no representation on the left at all. You know, that is first order of business. And we're, to be honest with you, until that is done, countering the right is going to be very, very difficult, because guess what? The right is well represented. It has dominance on your supposed side of the fence. You know, half of the people on the left are on the right, really. How are you supposed to win that? You know, that's not going to work out as some sort of electoral strategy. You have to get those people to show what they really are. We have to draw the line and show this is where the left really is. These are where our ideals are. These are majoritarian ideas, and we're going to fight and represent them. Win or lose.
And that leads me to my other point about this, because I know that was one of the arguments for why you should vote for Donald Trump if you are a progressive, because he will unify the left. And I've been accused of holding that position, even though I said back then that was a stupid position to have, not because burning down the house is stupid, because it wasn't going to unify the left. So even if you thought it was going to unify left, it wasn't going to unify the left. B, because the definition of the left as it exists right now is so vague and amorphous, and it's so dominated by people who are not actually on the left, that I don't want a unified left under Chuck Schumer. I don't want a unified left under Nancy Pelosi, because that's not the left. And C, I don't want a unified left at all. I think that it's time to move away from a two-party system. I don't think that any good can come from having two proto-political parties that define themselves under the amorphous terms of left and right and have no proactive agendas. And eventually, all they do is devolve into antagonistic policies that can be summed up as, well, I'm not them. And honestly, that is what the Democratic strategy this time was. It was to simply point to the Republicans and cover their mouth with their hand and go, well, we're not them, right, guys? And it's like what the hell? It's like, so from my perspective, the unification of the left is not desirable, nor is it plausible. Why would I want to go back to the way things were when it led us here? And even if the left is going to be unified, then it has to be we can come together for specific issues, but we can't come together under this broad umbrella of the quote unquote left for everything, because I'm sorry, that's dumb. That's an incredibly dumb thing to desire.
Well, see, I actually take a different approach on that. I do believe, we can come together and work on issues, but what I'm going to say here is going to probably offend a lot of people. But the people that are only voting for abortion or everybody has their own fringe issue, right? Those individuals who will try to browbeat someone like me, who's really, I'm voting for economic justice. I'm voting for economic justice and social justice for all people. Those are my issues that I really, really hold close to my heart, right? If you aren't really tugging on an issue or a pillar that I find that's going to really advance that agenda, why should I vote for abortion rights? I may agree with it, but I feel like my main area is over here. So unless you are willing to support a candidate that's going to support what I'm feeling, what I'm in agreement with, why should I support yours? Politics is an exchange. That's how the coalition has to be built. So, unification of the left, if it is to take place, it would have to be some sort of form where, hey, I will support you on this, but you have to support this as well. And if you're not, then we can't talk. Nobody's going to get anything unless everybody gets something. That's generally what it has to come down to. If everybody can't get something, nobody's going to get anything. And I think Martin Luther King said it, injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere.
That was Sister Soldier. Was that not Sister Soldier?
No, I think it was Sister Soldier maybe quoting Martin Luther King, but I'm pretty sure that's a Martin Luther King quote.
Well, I agree. And I think that they miscalculated how much people succumbed to, how much fear there was of Trump, how much they had control over definition of racism and sexism, and also what they had to offer to get Hillary Clinton into the office of president. If that was their one and only goal, there were things they could have offered. There were actual, I wasn't made of stone when it came to voting for Hillary Clinton. They just didn't want my vote. They didn't think they had to come get it, because all it would have taken was some sort of proactive plan to move us away from how we got to this point. And that simply wasn't on the table. No one laid out a plan to say, okay, well, here's the thing. if we are now in a situation where we are voting for two candidates who are two of the least popular candidates in the history of American society. In no time in history have both candidates been so universally disliked. We can't keep doing this, guys. This is rock bottom. I would have liked, for President Obama to come out and give America the rock bottom speech. Like, okay, well, you know what? This is rock bottom. Trump and Clinton are rock bottom. Or rather, Trump and Clinton are not rock bottom. Trump is grabbing a shovel after you hit rock bottom and deciding to dig your way through the core to get to China. Clinton is, for lack of a better word, one of those little anglerfish that have the lights on their head that convince you that you're not at rock bottom when you really are. Like, so we're at the bottom of the ocean. The analogy I'm using is that Trump is a shovel that you're trying to dig through the Earth's core to get to China that's no longer at the bottom of the ocean. And Clinton and the Democratic Party are these little fish with the lights that convince you that you're higher up than you actually are and that you're not at rock bottom. But really, we're at rock bottom. And so what would have gotten me to vote for Clinton would have been to destabilize the neoliberal agenda, the neoliberal infrastructure that exists in American society that led us to this point, and say, hey, you know what? We can't do this anymore, guys. We can't. They're too evil.
That's an interesting point. That's an interesting point. What would have made me vote for Hillary Clinton? And right off the top of my head, I can think of 6 things that she would have had to make substantial effort on. There would have been no question: universal health care, Medicare for all, everybody. That's it. Universal health care, and some sort of plan to make sure that the savings from such a thing actually benefit the consumers, right? The savings actually passed on to the general populace and be enrolling in the system. So that's a non-starter. If she was no on that, then she's getting negative. She has to come with it on that. They have to come with some sort of jobs program where the government would now become the employer of last resort to address the unemployment issue. And also, we would have also needed some sort of commitment to make college more affordable, and then some sort of commitment to some sort of wartime mobilization for green energy or renewable energy as our primary source of electricity. Like, those would have had to been firm commitments before I even considered anything from Hillary Clinton, and that just wasn't on the table in any shape or form.
I just think at this point, when we talk about lesser of two with politics, I am not inherently against lesser of two with politics. I just want everyone to be on the same page, and that is that the person we're voting for is still incredibly bad. They're just not the theoretical worst or practical worst. And in this election, we saw such ignoring of reality that the candidate people were in favor of, at least in the liberal side, was also incredibly problematic, and also incredibly right wing. And and so a lot of times when you criticize people like Keith Ellison or Hillary Clinton, you fall into this sort of, well, you shouldn't damn the good with the perfect. You shouldn't say, well, this is a good choice, but he's not perfect. That goes back to the purism argument. And my response to that is, yes, you should not damn with the good with the perfect, but you also shouldn't absolve the bad because of the worst. It's you should not succumb to this. You shouldn't try to assuage your cognitive dissonance over voting for a really problematic candidate by doing mental gymnastics to pretend like they are not problematic. And that was the big issue on the left. And I think that's what lost them a lot of votes. This notion that, okay, instead of critically engaging with why people don't like her, instead of critically engaging with why people don't like the Democratic Party in general, what we're going to do is we're going to pretend she has no faults. And then, because for us, we consider ourselves to be good people, to be good rational people, to be good logical people. And so we're going to pretend like she doesn't have any faults. We're going to pretend as though we don't have any faults as a party and that we've never done anything bad, but we're going to still use rhetoric. Deplorables, who cares if for every Democrat we lose in a blue collar, we're going to gain to it. Like, we're going to use rhetoric that demonstrates that we do not understand why people do not like us in the first place. So they shot themselves in the foot here, in the sense that, and now everyone who doesn't want you to criticize Keith Ellison is making that exact same mistake. Denying someone's faults simply because you want them to win does not actually help them win. It simply makes people who are on the fence wonder what you're hiding and why you won't be honest.
Well, hold on. Nobody, you can't say, well, okay, when you're running a campaign, there's no way you can campaign on, well, you know, our candidate's not very good, but please vote for it anyway.
I'm talking about campaigners. I'm talking about the media. I'm talking about the liberal media. I'm talking about the, you know, the new left media.
Again, you know, since they're all a part of the system, they're all trying to get that person in there. That's not a viable strategy for gaining votes. I don't think that that's the strategy at all. You have to try to make it seem like they're good, because that's what people are going to vote on. They're not going to vote for somebody that's bad. If you tell them that, well, this person's kind of bad, they're going to be agnostic about the issue. But at the same time, I just believe that Hillary Clinton was the wrong person to run. I don't think there was anything she could have done to win that election. She just wasn't the right candidate. She should have never been there. There should have been no Hillary Clinton running as a representative of the left. She's just the wrong candidate to run.
Well, no doubt. The Democratic Party they just outright handed the election to Donald Trump. They just did. I don't know. In the reason why is that once this was a populist election, and once you silence the voice of you know, populism on the left, was right wing pseudo populism.